Hi, this is Mary Ducharme. Welcome to the 5th Annual General Meeting of the Archives Hemmingford. One simple truth that I have observed in my experience of the archives here in Hemmingford is that as individuals we are very limited, but together the impossible becomes possible. Along with this is a quotation from Margaret Wheatley, who is an author, and she says, "In organizations, real power and energy is generated through relationships. The pattern of relationships and the capacities to form them are more important than tasks, functions, roles, and positions." And I think this is born as truth in my experience. Archive supporters share a belief that awareness of our roots gives us a clearer understanding of our place in the world and our potential as stakeholders in the future. We believe that those who came before us deserve to be remembered, and that these individuals have shaped the present that far too often we take for granted. Human life may be brief, but knowledge preserved is a legacy from which we all benefit. We want your stories to be part of that legacy as well. Archives work is by nature slow, complex, and demanding. For instance, we have thousands of documents and objects, and the collection is growing. Each single item requires a number, a label, a place on the shelves, repair or cleaning, possible further research, and a description in a digital catalog so that we can retrieve it for research or display. The Archives was fortunate this year for the assistance of a new volunteer who is very skilled in this process. Likewise, each one of you is capable of bringing to the archives your own dimensions of ideas and knowledge, your own unique skills. We are especially in need of people with skills in event organization, computer and other technology, research and writing, communication and publicity, and fundraising. This need is never ending, because history never ends. History is the people and events of not only the past, but now, from generation to generation. Perhaps you have just the skills we need, or know someone who has the time and interest to join our team. Please let us know. Very soon the archives will be the new owners of the former Presbyterian Hall, and this will be the first time that Hemmingford history will have a permanent base. A milestone for all involved. While our sojourn in the school has been extremely positive in many ways, the new site offers us ample spaces for our work, and it will be the public face of heritage for this community. As we make the transition to new horizons for the archives, we will need your active support more than ever. Then, one day, we can join together for a true celebration, a grand opening that will be long remembered. But first things first. With the property deed, we have the last legal document required to submit to provincial and federal granting agencies to assist us with the renovation of the hall. This means more months of waiting for the applications to be processed. But meanwhile, we have a job to do. We will have to raise a significant amount of funding locally to pay for our share of the costs. This is another way each of you can help us, by participating in fundraising efforts, rallying support, demonstrating your own enthusiasm for a point of community pride and connection in which all are equally welcome. For a start, there have already been donations made by Dorothy Tobin Roan, Cercle Fermier, the Lions Club, and CN. If you want to join the archives bandwagon for this wonderful cause, just contact us. We will be organizing events in the next few months, and your ideas and participation will be warmly welcomed. 2015 was a fairly busy year for us. If you remember, at the last AGM, we launched our bilingual book, Hemmingford Voices. We are collecting more interviews for a future publication, and we're looking for volunteers to assist with this project. Each volunteer will be given all the necessary instruction to do the interviews. So all you need to do to bring to the experience is a good communication skill and a senior who wants to participate. This senior might even be your own relative or a neighbor that you thought you knew well. Caution, these interviews often contain surprises, so an open mind is also required. Another project last year was the restoration of an original 1895 painting of Julius Schreiber. You know him, I'm sure, as a native son of Hemmingford and a long-serving member of Parliament who contributed significantly to the development of our region. Donating the portrait was Dr. Charles Schreiber, a great-grandson of Julius. And thanks to funding by Charles Schreiber, Louise and Stanley Triggs, Dorothy Tobin Roan, and Edmund Priest, the artwork was professionally repaired and cleaned. This is a process that the archives could not have afforded without assistance. The painting was unveiled, as you remember, at the old Schreiber House, currently owned by Pamela Sterling. This painting is an example of a significant addition to our collection. It's an example of history which is hidden. History that resides in attics or basements or garages. It is history waiting to be uncovered as part of our mutual heritage. It is a history too often simply discarded and brought to the dump. Too much is lost, and we all have a part to play in seeing that historical documents and objects are preserved as part of our own heritage. A few of our activities this year focused on church buildings and relics. Thanks to St. Romain Church and Diocese, relics of the old stone Catholic Church in Hemmingford were donated for safekeeping by the archives. Leonard Priest commissioned and funded the restoration of the prints and frames, and also he funded the design and construction of a beautiful casket to hold the collection. The work completed by Jamie Padnode. Another church-related acquisition for the archives was the decorative iron finial that adorned the tip of the steeple of the Henrysburg Church. Many of you people have attended this church and remember it well. It was demolished in 2015. The building was first constructed in 1861 and served its community as a United Church till 1975. We had the good fortune this year to collect photographs of each of the village churches, as well as the Wesley United Church in Covey Hill and the ruins of the old St. Paul's Church on Napa Road. The photographer for the village buildings was Raymond St. Laurent, who volunteered his time and work. The archives now has a large collection of beautiful church photographs as a resource for the Hemmingford community and future researchers. In the role of a facilitator, the archive sponsored a meeting between local church groups and representatives of the Regional Museum of Vaudreuil-Soulanges and the University of Montreal for the purpose of opening discussion concerning the preservation of church buildings at risk because of shrinking congregations and a high cost of maintenance and repair. This is not true just of Hemmingford, this is all over Quebec. The Presbyterian and the Wesley United Churches are pursuing further information at this time about available grant funding for needed repairs, but final decisions are not made at this time. 4 years ago, when the archive sponsored the first Fiddler's Fancy as a fundraiser, we did not realize that the name would become a local brand name for down-home entertainment and that a dependable crowd would eagerly attend. At a time when we questioned whether or not to continue the new tradition, many people were asking when our next concert would be. And it became clear that the talent for the show was also enthusiastic about the annual concert. This year, Kevin Bick stepped forward for the second year to organize the talent, and we're good to go on April 2nd at 1:30 to 4 at the school gym. We hope to see you all there, along with your families, relatives, and friends, for a great afternoon that also provides us with income to continue our work. As a final thought for today, A physical center to feature the heritage of Hemmingford will soon be realized. But the archives is far more than a physical space. The archives is also people with vision, people of good faith, people like you who give it power and energy. More than anything, the future of the archives depends on love, the love of volunteers for what they do. Thank you.